Zlurpcast!
One, two, three, four, five. I see a bald fuck. Wait, hold on. Let me turn off mirror image. Okay. Oh no, that's Biran. Oh, where? Bizarro. That is Biran. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Zlurpcast TV. We got 5 boxes. Special guest on this show, Taylor from Taylor Talks Comics. He is, can I say your like real identity?
Yeah.
Like who you are in relation to one of these members?
Yeah, I'm Mike's long lost brother.
That's not true. You are Mike's bastard son.
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
You are Xtreme's younger brother. We don't say little brother anymore. Do we say little brother?
Whatever you want.
Because Xtreme, I mean, you are smaller than him, but
Right.
they don't always say that. At a certain age, you say younger brother, not little brother.
Or kid brother. I've heard kid brother before.
Yeah,
I don't know what's Brian referred to me as when he talks about me.
A-hole.
He doesn't ever.
Yeah. I mean, many Blood Bowl fans of Zlurpcast remember you as the helper kid on the stage with your brother. You know, like handing him trophies. I think you broke our camera once too. We were shooting a
Probably.
video.
I was on an early episode of the old Zlurpcast.
You were on the first episode, actually.
Yeah, I was hailing from my crib back then.
Yeah. Wow. You remember that. We made an impact on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that episode is no longer available. I was going to say it's unlistenable. I guess it's unlistenable, but also literally unlistenable, not just figuratively. But regardless of how long that remains unlistenable, this episode with you will never have as many like engagements, I'll say views versus listens as that one. That was our first episode of the original Zlurpcast. Nothing you say in the next hour or so can be better than that, no matter what.
Well, then why am I even here?
For second place. Nothing wrong with the silver medal. We've got, so Xtreme is there. He's resting his arm on some Hulk Omnis. And we've got Mike in his favorite flannel and red shirt. Is that a Mantic shirt?
Flash
shirt.
Flash.
Flash
Nice.
shirt. Are you faster when you wear that?
No.
He's not an orc.
Oh, that too. You think double fast then. We are talking comics. Now, Taylor Talks Comics is your show.
Yeah.
This is an episode that's called Zlurpcast Talks Comics. See, what we're doing is we took the first word and we switched it and took your gimmick and applied it to this show because it's going to be more successful than your best news ever.
I hope so.
Probably. I don't know. Probably. You know, sometimes you cover hard-hitting things. You debate things. You get into it, okay? Some fighting words. We don't do that here. We just say stuff and assume people watch to the end when we say, go do the things, and then they've already left anyway. We don't care because it already counts, all that. But we're going to do our best to have a fun, entertaining show, talking comics. Biran has a lot to get off his chest. I call him an educated hater because he gets into things, but all he does is complain all the time. And I know I just summed up the internet. That's also Biran.
That sums me up pretty well.
Yeah, you actually are like a walking internet. You know what I mean? Like you're filled with enough like anger and joy to, cover all the aspects of the internet all in one gross package. I like it.
Fair.
So Biran, you had a vision for this show.
Yeah.
How did you want to like outline this?
Well, I think the best way to get to know each other is to know what comics that we're currently reading. Not obviously everything, because it'd be here all day for me to go through my every day I fill this out list. But yeah,
what are you, a poor?
I find that I like to tuck this in my pocket when I go to the comic shop to make sure I don't miss everything. So
I've got a website. I don't know what you got.
Yeah.
I write mine on a piece of paper too, so I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every month I watch, there's a couple channels I watch that go through, here's all the comics released, and I make notes of the ones I want to pick up.
All right. We're not doing plugs right now. So
Yeah, but I wish we had what you guys have, where you have that online thing where you can just add to your pull list anytime you want.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's actually really awesome. There's one negative of that. It's the League of Comic Geeks website. And the negative is you get too much stuff.
Yeah, you have like 80 things in your
Because the home screen is well, I guess I bookmark it to whatever I want.
Yeah.
When I go to the main screen, it's got recommended based on things you've pulled.
Right.
So of course it's almost too good. But no, I love that. I think every comic store should adopt it.
Oh yeah.
And here's the thing.
Is that pull box you're talking about?
Yeah, as a pull box. But
Okay.
so my local store, do you want to do a local store chat?
Yeah, let's hit that first. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just start with mine. Mayhem Comic and Collectibles, technically Clive, or is it Clive? Iowa, but West Des Moines. And huge store, huge gaming area too. But from a comic standpoint, it is awesome. And the pull it, get you a discount, bag it and board it, all that kind of stuff in there. But for your pull list, they use that website, League of Comic Geeks. And easy to add one. You just got to be careful though, because you have to, so today, for example, well, we'll get into what we're getting later. I added one today and I'm like, oh, I want to make sure like they're not going to get it in my box for tomorrow because they want you to add anything new by Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday for DC and then everything else by Monday. And so that's fine. I just got to scout it out. But like you can pick back issues, it's not going to grab them. So it's a little like not deceiving, but once you realize what your store can and cannot do, it's an amazing site. So, but anyway, that's my store. It is phenomenal. There's another store in Des Moines called JCD and Hobby. That's okay. They got a comic section as part of like a larger toy store and record store, but Mayhem is the best. And the staff knows a lot. They have an actual, like every member on the staff has a specialty of what they're awesome at. So there's like a tabletop gaming, there's a board gaming, there's a magic, comics, and yeah, it's good stuff. So check
So
them out
the
if you're
so the website that you're talking about that your pull list is on, is that that's like that shop's website?
No, it's a website that you could, I don't know if it's going to show up.
Because what I was referring to is Previews World, which is like Diamond,
Store?
has a thing called pull box.
No,
I continue to work with them with like Marvel going to Penguin.
You know, that's the thing is like there's all, and IDW is going to Penguin too.
Yeah.
hard to see, but no, basically, so you just pull up your issues and there's, when you search something, there's a little button, add to pull list, and then every week you can toggle. So for example, tomorrow, you know, I don't want to spoil it. We're going to talk about those, but every week it tells you what is going to be waiting for you in your box. It's pretty great. But your comic store has to use that. They just sign up.
I'm sure they have to pay a service fee or something like that
Yeah.
to use it.
Yeah,
But
but
it sounds like with the marketing it provides.
well, if you think about it, so when I signed up with an account, it did ask what my like home store was, you know, and then it links. And then I think I had to send them an email or fill out a Google form, and they linked my ID. They gave me like a store thing to link. So once it's linked, it takes like, you know, whatever. It's pretty quick. But you're right, Biran, though. Even if they pay a fee for it, the fact that I'm adding things 100% because of the website and not because of any other marketing, like word of mouth, it's worth it alone. If I had one new title a month or what I mean, it's worth it alone.
Well, that, and I think all shops need to have some sort of online presence. Does your shop like ship to people too, or have any sort of like social media things they do?
They will. They really try to, you know, obviously store wise. I will tell you this: they are busy all the time.
Okay.
I've never seen, and like I said, it's a big comic store and a big game store. They've got some like collectibles. That's not really their specialty there, but it's always busy, and that's awesome, and not in a bad way. There's always like four employees too. Like it's never just one employee. Like game stores and comic stores a lot of times have. So they're always.
I think
busy.
you could figure out the health of a comic book store by if they have more than one person working there.
Yeah,
that's good. Yeah.
Well, there's always
They can afford to hire somebody else besides the guy that owns the place.
Right.
Yeah.
There's usually 4 people there, 2 on a register, 2 registers, 2 people there, 1 doing organization, and then 1 sort of like by the office But I've always see 4 people working there. That's pretty healthy for a store like
Yeah,
that.
I just transitioned my home shop to one that's not necessarily closer to me, but takes less time to get to because it's north of me. I don't have to go through like Schaumburg to get there, and they usually have at least 3 to 4 people working there.
So well, let's talk about that store then.
That's Jay's Comics in, I think it's Three Lakes, but sometimes they also say Grays Lake because that's the biggest.
What's the first town called? What is it called?
Three Lakes.
Three legs.
Three
It's next to
Lakes?
Grays Lake, so they say Grays Lake because people know that one.
I've never heard of Three Lakes.
And I'd been there before. They were a really tiny shop, but very well organized. But then the store next to them went under, so they absorbed the space. So they usually have about 4 people working there. They order so many issues because they get all of the 1 in 250 variants and all those crazy things there. They also sell a lot of slabbed comics. They have a huge slab comic selection. They have a huge back issue selection. And they really started getting into the collectibles and toys, especially import toys and expensive toys like that, which really drew me in there.
Nice.
And also, I was going to ask you, does yours provide discounts if you have a pull box?
Yeah, I think it's 15% off.
We get 10% off that and like 20% off supplies and 15% off toys.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, they'll do, if you pre-order any like game stuff, they always, discount those. And I didn't even know that. I'm just getting it anyway. But
and they do stuff online. I think they do a lot of eBay stuff though. Like they get those rare covers and stuff.
Yeah, ours does eBay. What they'll do is they'll buy a collection from somebody and they'll put it in their Facebook. They have groups, much like a lot of stores, so like a comic fans group in the part of their Facebook page. Give, I think, locals first crack, I'm guessing, and then they can say, oh, I want that, add it to my box or something. And so it's kind of cool. They do put stuff online, but I think it's a lot of times they just locals eat it up because they,
Well, I used to go to the one in Schaumburg, Keith's Comics, because that's been my comic store since I was born. Keith either working at Moondogs or his own comic shop.
Was Keith at your birth too? Or?
Yes, he was there. He actually was at my bris and he did the cut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But
I heard there was a bit of an accident because he went to Fredo's first. His hands got all greasy.
Yeah. Well, he had a big Euro sandwich. And it was dripping all over.
Yeah, and then it was off with their heads.
But what I was finding is everything on my pull list was fine. And one thing I really liked is I could say, hey, give me every Peach Momoko cover that comes out because I really like her art. So he would take that extra. I didn't have to have it marked on my list. He knew. But the problem is, if there was something coming out that I wanted that wasn't on my pull list, like I want to give this a try. If I didn't get there on Wednesday, like soon after he opened, he'd be sold out. He just didn't order the volume of stuff, which could be smart for him because he doesn't get stuck with a lot of comics. But so I got sick of that happening to me. So that's why.
So Keith's on the pay no mind list?
No, I'll still go there. I like him. His store's nice. But
do you see him casually? Like weekends?
Yeah, we go out on dates a lot.
I can see you guys having a couple wine coolers.
Yeah. I remember one time I bought a M-rated comic from him. He's like, I'd ask your ID, but I think I've known you longer than 18 years.
That's his best pickup line.
Yeah. But they are vicious about making sure you use hand sanitizer before you touch anything.
Wow. That's a bit much because you want to have people have like wet hands on comics.
Yeah.
I actually don't like that.
Jay's, their Facebook is good for when they have sales going on because that's when I go and get Omnis from them when they're 40% off.
Yeah.
Because I'm not spending $150 when I can order it online, usually for 40% off from like cheap graphic novels. But I like to get it from a shop because then I have it in my hands right away.
And you're supporting them and all that.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Mayhem Comics. We've got Jay's Comics in Grays Lake.
Honorable mention to Keith's Comics in Schaumburg.
Honorable mention to Keith's. Xtreme, what's your place?
It might be the same as Taylor's, but it's Comic Book University. Because I don't really buy. Well, they have a good selection of new releases and stuff too, but the only thing I keep up with regularly is G.I. Joe. So I go there mostly for the trades and collected stuff, and they have a huge selection of that.
Yeah, and I think I'm pretty sure you've been going there since back in like when they're at the old location too, right? On 135. Yeah. And that's when was it Downtown Comics technically?
It was. I think they were borrowing the name for a while.
Right. And back then it was just Rob, the guy that owns it, was working by himself. So I remember in high school, I went to him, asked him if I could get a job there, and he's like, "Well, I don't really have employees." So, but now he's got a huge location, and he's got, I mean, anywhere from like 3 to 4 employees there at a time. So
He said, I'll let you bag stuff for store credit. I'm like, I'm in.
I should have taken it, and instead I went a different path to my career. Maybe things would have turned out differently.
You could be bagging and boarding right now as your career.
Yeah.
Xtreme. Can you get a 4-year or just a 2-year degree at that university?
You know, I haven't quite figured out what kind of degrees they offer at this university. I think it's just one of those for-profit universities where you just keep giving them.
Oh, like
money.
Phoenix College. Yeah.
Yeah. You hope
Now,
someday it turns into something.
If you ask the owner a dumb question, does he give you the 3rd degree?
I don't know.
Okay,
Sure.
I don't want to. This is a dumb game. So GI Joe, though, is what you're keeping up with me. Oh no, next segment you're on. Sorry, I'm all over the place. All right. And so that is in downtown Indy, you said?
It's south side.
Like a suburb, but they have a pull list program too, and I think it's only like 10% off. And then, I mean, they just same as any other shop. They ask that you put your comics in there before the cutoff date, and you get bags and boards and stuff. But yeah, their collected edition selection, like Brian said, is like massive. It's a huge wall, and then they also have it mixed in too with the single issues. My only thing, I wish they had more discount days, like they do sometimes for like free comic book day and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I would like to support them, but it's also like, well, I can get 2 books for the same price if I order them from other place. So, but whenever I get like a cheap trade paperback or something like that, I usually try to buy it there to support them. When the discount's not going to make that much of a difference if I order it online.
Yeah, I like. My store's got a huge trades selection, and they've got even though I think with trades you can find things online, but they have buy 3 get 1 free all the time.
Oh,
so that's one of those. Obviously, it's the cheapest of the 3. So don't get sucked in for like a $6.99 trade. You know what I mean?
make it count.
Yeah, make it count. Make them all 25 or something. But yeah, that helps for sure. To have some kind of deal going on. Mike, what is your store?
I've got 2. I get all my Marvel, X-Men, Mutant titles at Taylor Street Comics, which is down the road from UIC. And my local store is called Thunder Comics. It's when Dreamland got rid of their storefront, this guy named Dwight took over, and it was Dwight's Comics for a while. Then he got a partner, and they changed the name to Thunder Comics. So,
is that the one way down Schaumburg Road by like Bartlett?
Yeah, in that little strip mall next to the taco place. Yeah,
On Wise?
no, it's
Bartlett
on,
and Schaumburg Road.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Comic book shop
usually-
names in general are interesting to me. Like, there's very few that have like cool names, I feel like.
It's either the guy who owns it, apostrophe S Comics.
Mhm.
I would open apostrophe S Comics. That way anyone can take it over.
Or just some random word that you would see in a comic book, like Thunder Comics or
Yeah.
Krypton Comics.
Yeah.
But,
Well,
My favorite comic store name when we were living in Texas, the comic store I went to there was Paper Heroes, and I always thought that was an awesome name.
that's cool. The when I was in Colorado, the good store, I'll give a shout. I mentioned Iron Lion is a cool store in Colorado Springs, but there was a coffee shop that had comics too. It was decent. It was Kapow Comics and Coffee,
Nice.
and I believe coffee was a K
Oh,
for Kapow.
yeah. Hopefully there
The
wasn't
store
a
I
third
go
kid.
to is called First Aid Comics, and I remember just a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago, I just asked the guy, "Why is it called First Aid?" And the guy who owns its last name is Nurse, and so it grew out of. It was a joke that just grew out of that.
I thought you were going to say he bled on every issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Or he was the first one with AIDS.
No, Biran, it was First Aid Comics, not First AIDS
AIDS comic.
comic. Okay. Taylor, yours is the same as Xtreme then, yes?
Yeah, I've been going there for forever. I've dabbled in some of the other shops around here, but that's the only one that I feel like is quality.
The one
Have you
thing I
ever
don't
wa-
like about any comic book store is the conversations that happen around me. Like I hate hearing people talk about comics. I don't
So
know why.
what's worse?
So this is a good show for you to be on then.
Yeah.
So what's
Well, I
worse?
don't know those people though.
Oh.
You're in a store, Biran. You're hearing people talk about comics, and you're probably rolling your eyes over stuff they're saying.
Yeah.
Or you are then brought into the conversation, or they join your conversation with the shop.
They're kibitzers.
Yeah,
I
'cause
don't.
that happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
You know, I start talking about what I'm buying with the guy working there. That's totally fine. I'm fine with that. But then it's like, do you remember when? It's like, I'm not going to do a member when segment with you.
That's why you just hold your hand and go, let me finish my transaction.
Or who would win in a fight? Those are my
Right. Who would win in a fight? Yeah.
And I would say none of them because they don't exist. Dummy.
I would say anybody but you, friend. Walk away.
And it's always one thing I noticed at this new one is there's always the same couple guys. One guy works at a mattress store, so he does talk about mattresses a lot along with comics. And another
Right.
guy, I don't know what he does. Like for a while, I thought he worked there because he was putting stuff on shelves, but I don't think he does.
Is it like when you go to Grognard and you put games you don't want on the shelf?
Yeah. Do you want to store credit for these? No, I just want to put them on the shelf and see if someone buys them.
Yeah, as a goof.
Yeah.
Not in the system. What do I do?
Biran, we went round table with the stores. Are we
What
talking
were-
about annoyances at stores now?
That was just
that what
go along with the store thing. I think we should go to because we keep on hitting on what we're currently into.
Okay. Why don't you kick it off then?
For on the DC side, and this is going to be a strange one. Like I've been reading a lot of the Batman books, the Bat family books, Nightwing and Batman and Detective Comics. And I never thought I'd say this, but I like Mariko Tamaki's Batman better than James Tynion's Batman because I usually don't like Mariko Tamaki. But I think James Tynion's on short timer syndrome because he's out of DC pretty soon.
Yeah, I didn't read his Detective Comics run, but I heard it was really good.
Yeah, I completed that set. It was actually I got almost all of it for just cover price, so it wasn't that hard to track down. So I'm looking forward to reading that. Also on the DC side, DC Horror, Nice House on the Lake, another James Tynion. That's really good horror. What else I got? Swamp Thing is a 10-part series that I'm enjoying.
Is that Ram V?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a fan of his. I've been enjoying it was funny because I was reading both Suicide Squad and Teen Titans Academy because they kind of meshed together for a little bit. And I thought Teen Titan Academy was going to be like Strange Academy for Marvel, except it sucks. But Suicide Squad drew me in, so I'm reading that. But there is a new Teen Titans series that I'm enjoying. It's like Teen Titans Forever or something, which is more of a throwback to the original Teen Titans. So I'm enjoying that. And same thing with Justice League. I don't like the Bendis one. Is it Bendis doing it?
He was on it for a while. I can't keep track of what he's doing with DC. I just keep hearing that it's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. But they did a Justice League Unlimited or something that's really good. It's more like a classic Justice League where they've arrested Lobo and everyone's trying to kill him and they got to protect Lobo. So that's a good story. So that's for DC. Marvel, I'm not liking nearly as much. I'm habitually collecting the Daredevil Chip Zdarsky stuff.
Oh yeah,
is really good. And Immortal Hulk is really good. I'm that again kind of slowed down. It's almost done. It's got one more issue, so I'll be happy to
That's
clean.
it. That was wrapping up.
Yeah. And X-Men, aside from the House of X Powers of 10, most of it has been kind of garbage. Except I am looking forward to reading all of Hellions. I'm collecting that line that's ending because that sounds interesting. But man, I just wish they would have let Hickman do what he originally wanted to do with X-Men and finish it over like a 3-year span.
It sounds like that's a weird one because it sounds like he is taking a break and then coming back later, maybe.
I think so because it's like the Jerry Duggan stuff has been okay, but really House of X Powers of 10 is only the stuff that really grabbed me.
It's a weird situation because I know that Dan Slott interfered with that too, with because apparently Hickman wanted to use Franklin Richards for a part of it, and Dan Slott was like, "No, I'm on Fantastic Four," and it was a whole thing.
Don't get me started on Dan Slott.
Yeah.
Iron Man 2020 proves that he's a talentless hack.
He had a really good run on Silver Surfer, though.
I've heard he's done good things in the past.
Mike Allred and Slott, their Silver Surfer run was really good.
Didn't he do Superior Spider-Man too?
Yeah, he
Yep,
yeah he did
that was
Spider-Man
good.
for like ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I liked Superior Spider-Man. That was really good.
He also got to start with Marvel writing Ren and Stimpy back in the day. He wrote like 30+ issue run of Ren and Stimpy.
Also, the Thor run, the Donny Cates Thor run has
Oh.
been good, but the last issue felt like a time waster. and
Did
I didn't-
you read Beta Ray?
Yes, I liked it a lot. I
Yeah.
liked it a lot.
Yeah, Dana Warren Johnson. He's one of my favorites right now.
Yeah, I love his sentient spaceship. It's my new favorite character.
Yeah, that was so cool.
So yeah. So and what's the one JP and you and I were talking about, Dark Ages?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I picked that up. That's got an interesting take on it, where basically an EMP takes out all technology and how the superheroes cope with that.
Oh, that's Tom Taylor, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Taylor.
So that's good stuff. Yeah, and for indies, I just like a lot of the horror stuff. Like Something's Killing the Children is my favorite right now for a current favorite book. Oh, and also Strange Academy. Scotty Young, I'm a big fan of his, and he's doing something. The Me You Love in the Dark, a horror book, which is also really good. I like Scotty.
Oh, that
Young.
just started recently, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 3 comes out tomorrow. That might be one be good to wait for a trade paperback, but I started
Yeah.
it, so I'll finish it.
Are you reading Department of Truth?
I've got the first trade paperback, and then I have all the single issues in. I just haven't dove into it yet. I read the first trade paper though.
So that's James Tynion too.
Yeah, that guy writes so much,
I know.
but he is phoning it in on Batman right now.
Yeah, I think he's focusing on the Substack thing. that he's
Yeah.
doing, which is a whole nother thing. But
Yeah, I don't quite understand that. I don't think that's going to work long term. But hey, they got a chunk of money. Good for them.
yeah.
So yeah, that's a bit of the current stuff.
Just a bit. You'll be adding more though weekly.
Yes.
Right. Well, when you watch the YouTube shows and the reviews, you start to just,
Yeah, I like when they just cover everything that's coming out, and I just go, "Oh, that looks good. That looks good."
Biran, do you generally wait for like an opening in like a
Like a
story?
jumping on point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Unless it's something like the Daredevil run was, Zdarsky run is like in the 30s, but I'm still in the process of collecting all the back issues, and same with Hulk, Immortal Hulk. But that's kind of the fun of, I want to get the whole run of both of those.
Yeah. You almost have to like decide, is it going to be feasible to get these issues?
Yeah.
Or just jump on here and then guess if you want, get trades to catch up.
And Hulk was fun because who's the artist that's kind of banned now for being
Joe Bennett. Yeah.
the Jew thing was pretty bad.
Yeah, then the thing he put into the comic book and then the political cartoon he did together with the context.
I
Like
think,
if it's just one of them, maybe, or like okay, like whatever, but like I don't know.
he's
pretty good.
Brazilian. What are you gonna do? But
I
the
think
comic, that's the and I was making this point. This is why paper and hard copy is more important than digital. The digital version of that comic has taken that out.
Yeah, I'm sure all collected editions will too.
Yep. So that's one reason that they'll get floppy. And for those that don't know, he was Hulk was, or Bruce Banner as Joe Fixit, but not Super Bulk Up, was at a jewelry shop, and it said jewelry.
Like I left out the L.
Yeah. And he goes, I didn't know. It's like, you probably did. But
Well, then it also had the Star of David on the
yeah, the Star
window.
of David and jewelry. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
not a good look. He said he
Yeah.
misspelled it.
no.
Biran, I think you led this segment. You said the Jew thing was kind of bad. That's going to be the clip for this episode. I'm just gonna leave it at that. The Jew thing was kind of bad.
What are they talking about?
Exactly.
Ooh, I'm
and find out.
intrigued.
Yeah, tune in and find out which Jew thing.
Biran's an anti-Zionist. No, I'm
Well,
not.
you're saying it was kind of bad though.
It was not. It was clear that you're stretching believability when you say it was an honest mistake.
Yeah. Well, got his name out there, right?
Yeah. Well, no, he's pretty well known, and he'll be back once the fervor dies down. He'll come back. He's a well-regarded artist. So.
There's a certain group of people on the internet that are trying to rein him into their crowd.
Oh, you mean me?
The aforementioned, previous to the broadcast.
He's
That's
gonna
what
be
happens, though.
Comicsgate.
Yeah, comics. Anytime somebody gets in trouble for doing something and they try to get canceled, they
Yep.
rein him in. They're like, no, come over here.
Open arms. Come on.
Yeah, it's weird.
All right. Mike, are you picking up anything current series?
I
on
am
there?
so far behind in my reading. that I'm not reading anything.
You're buying
currently.
but not reading, right?
Yeah, I'm buying but not reading, and I need to go back and start over. However, occasionally one of you guys will say something like, the Dark Ages, and I was like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. So I downloaded that. That was fun to read. You said something about Robin.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Robin is my current favorite Batman book.
And yeah, I read the first 6 issues, which I think is all
it's Mortal Kombat. Robin and Mortal. Kombat.
Yeah. So that was fun, but
it's weird because it feels a little young adulty.
It does, and it also.
But he had his heart literally ripped out.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
Okay, because I thought you meant like.
It's got Lazarius Pitts, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Lazarius? Is it Lazarius or Lazarius? Lazarus.
Yeah.
Got to get my biblical stuff down.
Yeah.
Lazarius, I think I had on my foot once.
Yeah.
I'd have a doctor look at it.
You got to have some salve put on it.
It wasn't good.
And they did one of those things where, because Ra's al Ghul comes back, and he's like, oh yeah, I've been gone since. And there's like little note says, oh, see Batman and the Outsiders, volume 3. And I was like, I got to find that. And so.
All right.
But yeah, I'm way behind because I want to redo all that X-Men stuff and see what's good. And I also need to call, because basically I'm getting, for that one store, I'm getting everything that's mutant related. And
that gets out of hand quick with this Hickman stuff.
Yeah.
One thing they did that Marvel has done that's really cool with the Hickman stuff, though, is they've released the so they have like the trade paperback for the House of X Powers of 10, and then they've been doing like the Dawn of X trade paperbacks,
which is if you want to across the entire line, right?
Right. That collects everything in chronological order for the whole line, and like there's like, I don't know, there's like 14 volumes of that, and then there's like X of Swords, and it goes into Reign of X. But if you get these trade paperbacks, it's just volume 1 through whatever. It's very nice and neatly organized, and you get everything mutant related in there.
It is easy to collect. I like, because I started with the trade that has issue 1 of X-Men, Marauders.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, some of these I don't give a shit about. I didn't like X.
Yeah. It's very much for a completionist. It's like
right. So what I ended up doing is picking up the X-Men one. I picked up the Marauders one. And
yeah, then it was great too. They also did it that way too for people that don't want every single.
Yeah.
The options are great. That should be the standard. That shouldn't be, this is great. That should be how it always is.
It's true. I'm with you on that.
But House of X Powers of 10 is probably the House of X Powers of 10 trade, amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the next issues came out, I started reading like issue 111. Then, but I was forgetting everything and I wasn't getting into it. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick 3 of them. And like New Mutants was really good. So I was reading, and it just made more sense that way.
That's the thing with Hickman too, is like he's so good at like doing this like long story that connects all these threads. Eventually, you just have to kind of trust him. So you might be lost at first, but you have to go along for the ride. But he's good when he doesn't have so much like editorial nonsense that interferes with his stuff.
Did you read Inferno issue 1?
No, I'm behind on. Are you asking me or Michael?
Anyone?
Oh no, I'm behind on that stuff. I am like so far. I'm still in the Dawn of X era. I haven't read X of Swords yet.
I'm pretty sure I would be fine if I just read the Dawn of X, Powers of 10, Dawn of X, and then right to Inferno. Because a lot of everything in between, some of them are good, some bad, but it's not critical to understanding what's going on.
Yeah, I heard they brought back a lot of the Krakoa stuff from like House of X Powers of 10.
And
like,
they gave away the trial of Magneto that still hasn't finished.
Yeah.
Which is terribly written in a bad comic. Don't read it.
I've never read a comic about a trial that was good.
No.
So it's always terrible.
Well, it's like
I was reading it through, I'm like, oh, I guess they found him not guilty because
it's like every Daredevil and She-Hulk comic, right?
People like law stuff though, in general.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
What killed me was way back in the 80s, there was a trial of the Flash, and it was supposed to be like a four issue arc, but that's when the Flash was going to die in Crisis. And they're like, oh, we need to get this to issue 350. And it was like issue 318. And so they stretched it out. Oh, it was terrible. I was like, Jesus.
This is a similar thing happened to like the Clone Saga with Spider-Man in the 90s, right? It's supposed to be a short miniseries.
Oh, God. Yeah, the Clone
kept
Saga.
going on and on.
And didn't they just redo it again with Miles Morales?
Well, I mean, you just talked about Inferno. They're just redoing every event.
Yeah.
Jason Aaron just did Heroes Reborn again.
Yep. And I hear it actually wasn't too bad.
There's a great issue in there with James Stocco. I don't know if you're familiar with the artist. I think it's like issue 4. That's the only issue I bought because I love James Stocco, and his art's just amazing. But that's the only one I read.
Can't be much worse than the original Heroes Reborn. So
No, I don't think so.
So Mike, anything else you're kind of just in that, what do I really need to be paying attention?
I was a little annoyed. My comics store just kind of stopped pulling Thor, and I was kind of enjoying it, but so many issues gone by, I was like, So yeah, I need to catch up on that.
Okay. Yeah, you read, well, Biran, do you have a segment here planned for how we absorb this content? Okay.
Yep.
So I won't talk about Mike's digital prowess yet.
Mm-hmm.
Xtreme, G.I. Joe.
Yeah, basically the only book that I keep up with and have for a few years is G.I. Joe. But I've been over the last few months, well, maybe last month, I don't know, collecting in a mass of reading material, and I'm going to have some time ahead of me in the next few weeks to catch up on it. So that's what this big stack here is. I'm going to get through all this.
So how old is Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes? 78, 79? Because the last issue, they were clearly in Vietnam.
Why don't we clear this up? Because I remember Xtreme, I'm not as far along. So Biran jumped on G.I. Joe later.
Yep.
I started with the trades. So I'm on, I think, number 7, I believe now. I'll get the comics when I get caught up, but I have, and I'm pretty sure there was enough references to retcon all the Vietnam stuff to say I served in Afghanistan instead.
No, not necessarily. So Larry realized at some point that it was bad to put them into a real timeline, but initially they were in Vietnam. So now they were in Vietnam, but it may not have been the Vietnam War that we're used to.
So it's not the 616 G.I. Joe universe?
No. So
It was a secret Vietnam War.
Yeah, everything's still canon, but yes, they were in the country of Vietnam, but
they were on vacation.
We're not going to put a year on when they were there.
So they went on vacation to Vietnam.
But the equipment they're using is of the era.
Right. Well, he's trying to stay true to the original Snake Eyes stories, so he can't mess that up. But that's also why at some point he stopped using real countries altogether. So then they all became fictional countries because then there was no way to date.
Yeah, and people can't get mad at you.
Yeah.
And that too.
What am I thinking of then as far as connecting it to like a more recent war? Am I mixing something up?
I mean, they have done stuff that's very similar to the countries of real wars, but
I thought I remember something about, and I because when I saw it, I was like, I want to ask you. This was once, I don't know, last year probably, and I was like, and I was like doing the math in my head about how I think Duke was talking to someone, doing the math in my head about, okay, so he's probably like in his 50s now, because I was doing the math on like a post 9/11 tour of duty of sorts.
If they were mentioning that kind of stuff, it was probably the IDW continuity.
Okay.
Because I don't think Larry's touched on it. I mean, he stopped talking about real locations and real events years ago.
Okay, maybe I'm getting something confused on it, but that makes sense then, to keep it more about the close to reality but fictional settings and everything. So.
I mean, that's pretty apropos for all. I mean, think about like Marvel, like the Fantastic Four. They're like 60 years removed from the first time they flew into space. So
yeah,
I think all companies have to have that continuity where the people don't really age.
What I enjoy is, for the longest time I thought DC was all fake towns, but now as I'm reading more, it's like, oh, Boston's around and New York's around. So where's Gotham in relation to New York? And
it's right down the road.
Yeah.
Gotham's a suburb of New York.
You can walk there. It's like Schaumburg.
Yeah.
You haven't been to Gotham lately, Biran. It's actually pretty nice now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been cleaning up their act around there.
They gentrified Gotham.
Yeah, I mean, most of them, not all the areas, but most.
There've been a couple of like maps where they've shown it, and Gotham's kind of in Jersey, and Metropolis is in Delaware.
Oh, did someone try to match it up, or is it pretty obvious?
They had maps, but they had like really big circles for where they were.
Yeah.
But
So kind of vague.
And his coast city's West Coast, right?
yeah, West Coast. It's California.
Where's Star City then? That's like
Star City is
like Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, it's basically
Seattle?
Portland.
Seattle, Portland area. Okay.
Yeah.
Where's Green Arrow from?
Star City.
So okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Because Central City and Keystone are basically what is that?
And
Kansas City?
Bloodhaven is near Gotham.
Yes, it's a suburb.
Yeah.
It's the south side of the city.
Yeah.
Why is that in quotes?
It's the Pilsen of Gotham.
I used to live in Pilsen, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to live there now?
I'd rather live there now than when I was living there. Although I don't think I can afford the rent there now.
Yeah.
Mike
but,
had a game table set up at all times in that house. What's wrong with that place?
Yeah, you've been there. Yeah.
That's right. I think we waited at your house for 6 hours for Nick Anderson to pick us up once. Like, all right.
But that was
We're
the guy
gonna
with the driving gloves.
Oh God.
Oh, was it?
I wouldn't get
Yeah,
in a
that
car with
guy was
someone-
late. Because Dean
I would
was
not.
there
I would
too.
not get in a car with someone that put on driving gloves.
It's a lot of work just to go to Xtreme's house. You know what I mean? Driving gloves, the whole thing. So, all right. So Xtreme, you're picking a reading material. I'm guessing trades, omnibuses, collected editions, that kind of stuff, right?
Yep. So I've amassed a lot of stuff to read here soon. What I've read recently, I reread Batman Nightfall for the first time since it came out, and realized that my memory of it was much better than the story itself actually is. And I was
What time
That's
was
a lot
that?
of things.
What
Yeah.
years was that?
90.
96, 97. Well, maybe
90s can be rough.
94, maybe.
I think it was
Yeah,
94
Mid 90s.
because it was the year after
Saga and all that.
it was the year after Superman died.
Oh,
Yeah.
spoiler.
Superman died, and then a year later, Batman.
Oh,
built
that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, I thought I was gonna love rereading that, and the whole time I was just like, ugh.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Those are best for the
This is the one I'm reading now for Batman.
Oh, Scott Snyder.
Yeah.
Oh, was
Port
that
of
the
Owls,
Port of
Death in
Owls?
the Family. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
that's a big boy right there, Biran.
Yeah. This was another 40% off Jay's Comics.
How many? There's like 40 issues in there.
More than that.
Yeah.
Volume 2 of that comes out, I think, this month.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to check. I think it might be on my wish list on Cheap Graphic Novels.
It's either this month or next. I don't know, but
It's only $200, Biran. Go get it. So that's good, Xtreme. You got some stuff ready to go there. You haven't really like Biran has had an effect, I think, in our little chat about like, you know, he's been buying everything and kind of like it tends to impact others.
Well, enthusiasm rubs off.
Yeah, and whatever you have.
Yeah.
So all right, Xtreme. That sounds good. You got a nice little collection ready to go.
So Taylor, what's in your poll?
so I didn't bring my single issues with me. I just brought stacks of collected editions. But I usually don't pull like mainline continuity stuff for the big two because one, I don't like all the big events and stuff like that. Usually I'll read those in collected editions because I feel like they read nicer that way.
Yes.
But so I usually pull like mini series and that kind of thing, I guess. But I've been reading recently Batman Reptilian, which is Garth Ennis and Liam Sharp.
Black Label, right?
Yeah, and Liam
Which
Sharp's
is
like,
becomes a more meaningless label every month, I think.
I know it's like wannabe Vertigo, and it's
Mhm.
silly. But this
Tell me
comic,
more Batman dick. It's got to have a Batman dick in it. It's
Yeah.
Black Label.
this comic's good though. Liam Sharp is like I think one of the best artists of like recently in the big two. He did the run on Green Lantern with Grant Morrison, and his art in that run was just phenomenal too. But so that, and then Batman 89. Have any of you guys read Batman 89?
I heard it started strong, but then some people kind of said,
Oh, I've been enjoying it because so Batman 89 takes place after Batman Returns. So it's in like that movie continuity of the Burton verse. So the name 89 just designates that it's from, you know, the original Batman movie. But the fun thing though is they're taking all the casting rumors that you heard around those movies and like making them true. So like Billy D. Williams is becoming Two-Face. So he was Harvey Dent in the first Tim Burton movie. You're seeing him become Two-Face. And in the first 2 issues, you see this black kid start to run around in like a Robin type outfit. And if you kept up on the rumors back then, it was like Marlon Wayans, I think, was rumored to be Robin back then.
I was hoping.
So it's just like fun that they're
Gary
taking
Coleman would have been better.
Oh.
As
It's fun that they're taking like these things that
Wayne?
like took place in the movie, and it's written by Sam Hamm, the guy that wrote the scripts for those movies too, which is also kind of cool. But they're taking the things that like all those rumors too, and kind of putting them in and making it true. So it's kind of like a fun ride if you were paying attention to those kinds of things back
Like
then.
alternate universe Tim Burton Batman.
Yeah, I don't know if eventually we'll see like Howard Stern become Scarecrow or whatever those rumors were. That'd be kind of cool.
He always he used to always say that on his show. He always talked about.
I think he'd probably be pretty good at it.
Yeah,
No,
he was asking to be it, like in the era before people did online petitions and social media.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted people to do. Like, hey, come on, get me in this role.
It would be awesome if he pops up like that though. It's cool to like that you like always heard those rumors growing up, and then like you're reading this comic, it's like they're actually doing it. I don't know.
You knew who Marlon Wayans was in 1989?
Well, this was rumored for like the 94, 95, like what would have been Batman Forever in 96.
Oh, okay. So it's a few years later.
Yeah.
I never heard that one at all.
It was gonna be if Tim Burton stayed on for Batman Forever and they introduced Robin, he was one of the rumors. I don't know how like close that he got to it, but it was one of the myths you hear about it.
And Biran, you said you heard Emmanuel Lewis, you said?
No, Gary Coleman.
Same
Damian
thing.
Wayne, because he's little like Damian Wayne is.
But so that's been cool. I've been enjoying that. And what else? Red Room. That's a horror book.
I picked up all the issues and I haven't started reading it yet. Because Jay's Comics, since they order so many, like I forgot what number Red Room's on, but they had all the back issues going back to one, so I was able to get it all at once.
They've had 4 issues. Well, it's just one guy, Ed Piskor, of Cartoonist Kayfabe. But it's the 4 issues, and then they had a free comic book day issue, which was all new original material too. So there's been like 5 issues. But it's great. It's not for the faint of heart. It's very graphic, very and violent.
Crumb-esque art, I would say.
Yeah, he does have a very R. Crumb style, but I think he's evolved too, because I actually have his X-Men Grand Design here to show off. X-Men Grand Design was great, and then he also did a Hip Hop Family Tree, and those were like very much more R. Crumb inspired art. But Red Room, I feel like is evolving. I feel like his like art's becoming more anatomically correct, I guess, because R. Crumb had like the kind of squanty, cartoonish look to his. Now I think he's like really stretching his artistic muscles, I guess. But Red Room is it's so the whole conceit of it is there's like these on the dark web. You can get into these chat rooms via cryptocurrency, and people. So it's like like OnlyFans, like porn sites, except for it's murder. So you can pay money to get into these sites and watch these like murders and get your. I don't know if you're feeling violent at your boss one day. You can type in and pay cryptocurrency. I want you to do this to that guy or whatever, and they murder him. And then the whole story then is about like. 1, like who are the people that would pay for that, and then 2, like who are the people that actually commit these murders, and then like, well, does anybody ever find them and that kind of thing. So he's really like the first issue was kind of like okay, like it's just kind of gratuitous violence, but then the story really starts to evolve as it goes on, but it can be very violent. So if you're not into that, I don't know.
Yeah, and there's different groups of people doing this, and they're competing with each other for the audience.
Yeah. So it's like that thing too. So like on YouTube, when you're like trying to fight the algorithm and have like certain time of day or how frequent you're going to do your videos, there's like a lot of that going on too. So a lot of that kind of commentary of like influencers and that kind of thing. It's really interesting.
I'm making notes on things Taylor recommends, by the way, on the side.
Oh yeah.
For me to.
The X-Men thing he mentioned before, you had mentioned that like a year and a half ago on your website or whatever, and I actually picked it up and read it. It was really good. So
X-Men Grand Design?
Yeah, Grand Design.
Oh, it's awesome. I can show it off if you want.
Sure.
So let's go into how we prefer to read. Be it digital, floppy.
You don't want to know my comics, Biran?
Oh, I
yeah.
thought you already went. Go ahead.
Okay. I don't have that many. My mostly trades, collected editions, but I have been enjoying the Marvel Darth Vader series, just because it's a pretty cool look in between episodes 3 and 4 of the movies, and it's got some it's always tough for me when it comes to Star Wars, because you have like expanded universe stuff in my head, and I try to like forget certain things, remember, but as it is so far, it's really good. So been enjoying that a lot. And as far as recent stuff on the pull list, it's pretty new with the new store. I figured, they got a lot of cool stuff. I want to get into it. So I've got the besides Darth Vader, Deadpool, Black, White, and Blood series.
Yep.
And that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I've been picking that up too. I think issue 3 comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, I believe it's tomorrow as well.
So sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the Marvel Black, White, and Blood series. So far they've done Wolverine, Deadpool, and now they're doing Wolverine, Carnage, and the Deadpool.
Carnage.
And then they've already Electra's coming out next, which will be
Okay.
cool.
Should I get all the rest? I saw the Wolverine one, but I walked past it. Should I pick them all? Are they kind of connected?
They're not connected. What's cool about it though, it's like they're all anthologies. So it's like each issue will have 3 different artists or writers, and they'll do like a 8-page strip, and they can do like whatever they want, like whatever continuity they want. They can do their own little strip. It could be ambiguous when it takes place. So just like their own little like 8-page take on it. And they're using the gimmick of just black and white art with blood.
Yeah.
But
Which I always like that style anyway. Like
like
Sin
Carnage was
City.
kind of disappointing because I think a lot of it they chose to take place in like the Johnny Cates Venom run, which I haven't read. So maybe I'd enjoy it more if I have. I do want to read that run, but the Deadpool one has been, I've never liked a Deadpool comic. I think to me, the best Deadpool incarnation's been like the Ryan Reynolds movies. I've just never enjoyed them in comics, but this series is really good. Like the first issue had James Stocco, the aforementioned that I like a lot, was in that one. And then Dana Warren Johnson's in issue 2. Tomorrow's issue has Stan Sakai of Usagi Yojimbo fame. And issue 4 has Mike Allred. And those are like 4 of my favorite artists going today. So like each issue. So it's like the series was designed to get tailored to like Deadpool, I feel like.
It sounds like it, yeah.
That's been a cool series.
It's funny
Nice.
because DC did something similar with like their Wonder Woman, Black, White, and Gold, and
They had
Superman.
Batman Black and White like from like years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So, we got those. I want to pick up one called Primordial. Looked pretty cool. It's got looks. I just read like a brief little thing, but this actually looks pretty cool. Basically sending monkeys into space in Cold War era, and like what happens when they don't return, or will they return? So
that's
I think
got
it's-
sorry, I keep interrupting you, but that's got Jeff Lemire and Andre Sorrentino on the comic, and they both did Gideon Falls, which is a great horror comic too.
Oh, I've heard really good things about that one too.
Yeah, it's the same 2 people doing Primordial, and they also did a good run on Old Man Logan and Green Arrow together. So like they're a great team.
I think Gideon Falls just came out with a deluxe paper hardcover.
Yeah, I got that in the other day. But like I love the panel layouts that Andre Sorrentino does. Like it's like so, it's just crazy that like we're 100 years into comics and people are still doing these interesting things with how you like compose a page and stuff like that. So that's what I like about Gideon Falls, and I'm sure that's probably prevalent in Primordial.
Speaking of like kind of the look on things, so it's kind of like Biran mentioned a lot of the horror ones, and those are like my wife likes a lot of that kind of stuff. They have that shared interest there, but some of those ones, like he mentioned, and she's looking at like she likes Ice Cream Man, and she wants to pick up the one Echo Lands has an interesting look to it with the landscape.
Where you read it in landscape mode.
Yeah, so a lot of that kind of stuff out there, but I think I end up just you mentioned earlier, Taylor, about what's easier to read, and I really enjoy when you get some kind of collected edition, because it's going to have other issues pulled in there that are part of the story, and it makes it so much easier on me. And yes, I may be behind the times on it, but I don't really care. I'd rather just get it all together.
And just nicer to read it all in one sitting rather than wait a month and fill in the gaps
and forget what was happening the previous.
Well, but what I run into is I don't realize that something else may be tied to it too, and I don't have all the pieces of the puzzle.
Well, that goes on to one of the big beefs against comics in general is the tie-ins. It gets out of
there's events and stuff. It's like you need all 20. It was things like Nightfall that ruined this, where you need all these 25 different titles in order to really stay on the story. So it's like that turns into a racket as well. And then you look at the trade paperback, you're like, well, it's $12 for that, or I could pay, for 6 issues, I could pay, close to $30, I guess, at that point.
Well, it also gets a problem when even if it comes out in Omnibus, if it's mapped poorly.
Yeah.
Like I was interested in getting the Absolute Carnage Omnibus, and then someone showed me their copy with all the sticky notes on the order of reading, and it's all over the map. I'm like,
that comes down to preference, though. I feel like because Marvel, the way they do their big event omnibuses usually is they'll have like the big event first with the important tie-ins. So like Infinity, like think of like Infinity Gauntlet if you've read that. Like the important issues were like the Silver Surfer issues and the Infinity Gauntlet issues. But like the Doctor Strange issues weren't like so important. So they'll have like all the important stuff first and then all the fill-in tie-ins later. So you might want to read it like that. Because like if you go in reading like a Moon Knight issue and a Doctor Strange issue that has like very little to do with the actual event itself, you like it starts to stretch it out a little bit. So I think it's just preference. Some people like to read it all chronologically. Some people like to just read like the meat of it and then fill in the tie-ins later.
I
But
just know if I read the meat of it, I wouldn't read the extra stuff back.
that's a good point as well. Yeah.
One more Taylor I want to throw out there. So I got into the trades earlier this year, and now I'm waiting for the comics. But have you read? Speaking of the point earlier, Lazarus, the comic?
Oh, with Greg Rucka?
Yeah,
I have not. I want to though, but those hardcovers are out of print right now. So
I bought.
been waiting for those to come
I
back.
just bought the soft trades. They were for me. They were fine, but I loved it. And then I'm like, oh, so it must be over. And when I got to the end, I'm like, wait a minute, this is no way over. And I realized he, in an interview, said he was like 25% into the story. But now I don't even see a proper release schedule. So I don't know what happened with.
Yeah, he
COVID
took
and the
a
production.
he took a long time off. So there's like 3 hardcovers that I know of, and then I think there's like he did a few issues after that, and then he hasn't done anything for a while. So I don't know what happened there, or if they're taking like it might be like Saga.
Yeah.
Have you guys read Saga?
Yeah,
A fantastic comic book.
it is. It
Um,
really is.
So
There
that
was
went like
7 trades here, but oops, can you?
yeah.
You're right. But then there was a couple that came out last year that haven't not enough to put into an 8th book, but then there's no other issues. So now
Oh.
I'm like, what do I do? Do I keep waiting? Because I can't find, it's just it's in a weird place, and it's a very cool story. It's like a Game of Thrones, like as far as families at war, but it post-apocalyptic, and it's got some like, modern day Biran, Trumpism type things going on. You might appreciate.
Oh, so it's an idealistic future is what you're saying.
Well, to some of the family, sure. But I loved it. It was one of I found it on accident, and I was like, holy shit. And then I was like, this is one of the best things I've read recently. And it's too bad that I can't get back to normal with it. So I'd love to get
He's very good with the political, the machinations, and he did a lot of runs on Checkmate in DC in the late 90s, early 2000s. That again, the spy stuff, that just kind of the low power things. It was really good.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that continues. That's one of my favorites so far as a brand new, new to me kind of.
Yeah.
Cool. Biran, we wanted to talk about annoyances or how we read them.
How we like to read our comics.
Okay. Why don't you begin?
Given the choice, I would get omnis and nothing but omnis. There's just something nice about laying that big fat boy across your crotch with giant representation of the art and a well curated omnibus.
Mm-hmm.
Which, like, the first omni I bought was Spider-Gwen. And the reason why is because I've never read any Spider-Gwen, so I knew it would be all new to me. And I would say it was 37% good and the rest was trash. But I enjoyed the reading of it. But now I've gotten into Jeff Johns stuff for DC. And I started with Aquaman, which is another one I never read, but it's Jeff Johns. I think it's the New 52.
Yeah.
52 run. Fantastic. Like, if you liked the movie was almost directly based on the stuff in that book, and it read awesome. So, and then I picked up on sale the Blackest Night, and I got about 20% through it. And I'm like, I need to read Green Lantern because I have no idea what the hell's going on.
So did you get those?
Yeah. So I bought volume 1 of Green Lantern. I finished that in a week, and I have volume 2 on its way. So once I finish volume 2, that's when I'll pick up Blackest Night.
Yeah, because I think volume 2, Blackest Night, just like the events in there.
Yeah.
So when you get to that point, you'll need to read the Blackest Night omnibus and then go back to it.
Because it just got to the point where the end of volume 1 is where they talk about the indigo lanterns and the red lanterns and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm pumped. And it's just like, I just think Jeff Johns just writes comics the way I remember reading them as a kid. But obviously, if I read the stuff I read back then, it's kind of crappy. But like 90s stuff sometimes really hard to get through. I learned that when I picked up the Venom Omnibus from the 90s.
Oh yeah.
The Vin Omnibus.
Yes. And I was like, I kind of like it, but it's so corny.
Yeah.
It's like the blockbuster popcorn movies that I like, but still modernized so it doesn't seem ridiculous.
Yeah. No,
Not
Jeff
every-
Johns.
not- I was gonna say, not everything, Biran. I mean, it's okay to have that kind of just, cheesy action too.
Mhm.
You don't have to always, you don't have to be a thinker all the time.
Yeah, it just reminded me of, I remember before when I first started in comics when I was in grade school is right when the big thick summer annuals would come out, like Infinity Gauntlet, the first Infinity Gauntlet one. And I remember reading Iron Man, and Tony Stark had a perm, and he had a coke nail with a little diamond in it. And I think that's what it reminds me of reading the Venom Omnibus, just the bad 80s hair and the shoulder pad outfits for the women in their dresses.
I mean, but he's rich. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
I guess. I mean, but the
just a
Jeff
thought.
Johns is how I remember comics, but it's obviously not the same. It's more modernized.
Jeff Johns has been really well collected in Omnibus too, because he has 3 volumes of his Justice Society of America.
Yeah,
run.
those are highly recommended.
That's on my list.
I want to read those.
They're so good. They're so good.
I
That's
get
like my wheelhouse.
Flash Fine one, Jeff Johns Flash. I'm looking for
Yeah, those are good too.
Because like my wheelhouse of comics is usually like Silver Bronze Age is what I prefer, or modern indies. It's kind of like my, if I were to succinctly describe what kind of comics I enjoy. But so I feel like things like that was JSA, to my understanding, is like he kind of took like these golden age characters, but kind of like made them like with modern sensibilities.
And they're still around in the current comics too, because
Those characters.
what's his name, the Green Lantern from JSA. He's gay now, by the way.
Oh
No, yeah, he is. Alan Scott.
I just assumed they were all gay at this point. But.
Until
Yeah.
proven otherwise, yes.
Mhm. I like how there was controversy over Tim Drake came out as bi,
Bye.
Yeah.
and I always thought all the Robins were kind of
well, I mean that dates back to like Frederick Wortham back in the day, saying that like Robin and Batman had a relationship together.
that's
With
crazy.
the
Yeah.
seduction of the
It's
innocent.
called a mentor and protege.
Yeah.
As a Seinfeld fan, you should
He's
know
my
that.
ward.
My ward.
But I do like the extended Batman family stuff too. So, and that's starting to come out in this one, because you get a lot of Nightwing and Oracle / Batgirl and stuff like that.
Have you read the Grant Morrison run?
I have not. This is the first Omni that I got.
Okay. Is anybody here a Grant Morrison fan?
Yes and no.
What-
Some
what
of
is-
his stuff is
what's the
really
yes and what's
good.
the no?
Some of his stuff is not.
What's the stuff that you liked from him?
The Animal Man's. Did he do the Animal Man?
Yep, that's
And
a great one.
the Justice League 1,000,000.
Yeah. What about Doom Patrol? Have you read that one?
Oh, Doom Patrol. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doom Patrol. But
So this year,
did not care for his Justice League run at all.
oh yeah,
It was
this
so
year-
pretentious. It was so just.
he can be. This year, I've finally delved into Grant Morrison. I've always been like an Alan Moore fan, and for some reason, like unbeknownst to me, I kind of picked one side, even though I didn't realize that there was actually a rivalry or feud there.
Yeah.
So, and I always assumed that like Grant Morrison was one of those guys, one of those people that like picked like Alan Moore stories, was like, oh, I want to do comics like that. But now that I've like been diving into his work this year, I've realized he's quite different. They're
Yeah.
or sorry, they are quite different. I think he's they them. But one thing that like I really enjoyed though is he has a autobiography / memoir, if you will, /
Did you just
history
use
of
his pronoun
comics?
incorrectly again?
what's that?
Did you just use his pronoun incorrectly again?
Oh, sorry.
Taylor, when you said that, Biran's face is like not having it.
Well, sorry, Morrison. I get it. Whatever.
Not whatever, but okay.
He came out with this. They came out with this memoir, Super Gods. I can't even get it right now. Super Gods, and there's an audiobook of it, and it's done. The audio's done by somebody that's like Scottish, so you still get kind of the voice there. But it's like a memoir / history of comics, and it's really interesting. And like getting into it, you kind of get into the headspace of like where Morrison's coming from when they're writing these things. But so that kind of helped me understand, I guess. But so now I've read Animal Man. I'm in the middle of Doom Patrol, which is great, which is what the HBO show's based off of.
Yeah.
What years was that? 87 for Doom Patrol, looks like.
Yeah, 87 through the early I think 91
Yeah.
maybe.
Is that an omnibus?
Yeah, it's a fat one too.
Yeah.
Oh, is that real expensive one you sent me, Mike, that time? You linked to one. It was like, not really. I mean, they're all
It's
expensive.
$150 one, but
Yeah.
cheap graphics got it for 90.
Yeah, I'm gonna add that to my list.
It's fat,
It's
but
worth it.
it's really good. I'm halfway through that one because I haven't watched the show yet because I want to read this first. But and then I've read his Green Lantern run, which is recent, and I have his Invisibles omnibus, but I haven't gotten into that one yet.
Invisibles is tough.
Yeah, I heard there's like a thematic trilogy. Like, you guys familiar with these? Like, where it's like they're not direct trilogies, but they're all the same theme by the same writer.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite one's always RoboCop, Total Recall, and Starship Troopers. Were all the Paul Verhoeven movies.
Right.
Like, they all have like the similar themes, but they're not really trilogies.
Yeah.
But people always say Morrison's trilogy is like Doom Patrol, Flex Metallo, and Invisibles. Like, because they all kind of fit that like weirdness. Like, I don't know how you even describe it. It's not really breaking the fourth wall. It's like, I don't know. He's just always playing with the medium and what you can do with it, I guess. It's hard to describe. How would you describe Doom Patrol, Mike?
Weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
I mean, yeah, it was different than anything else that was out there at the time. And I didn't really know the characters that well, but I just picked it up because my comic book guy in college said, here, you should get this. And it was so different from it. I mean, one of the major groups is the Brotherhood of Dada, and it just, other people tried to mimic it and they just couldn't. And it was, he was so good at just coming up with these odd stories and characters. And like, there's a character who's a sentient street with a questionable, was questioning his sexual identity at the same time. So, it was. Well,
one of the main characters too is Crazy Jane, and she has 64 different personalities.
Yeah.
And each personality has a different superpower.
Yeah.
Like, that's a fun thing to kind of travel with. But like, the Doom Patrol in general is a weird team, and I love weird comics. I think one thing I enjoy too is just like weird superheroes. I don't like it to be so.
That's what I like about the Green Lantern Corps stuff. When you see some of the esoteric members, here's a Green Lantern who's a mathematical formula that became sentient.
Yeah, that's the kind of, because like growing up in high school, I liked like very street level, like Batman, Daredevil. Like I wanted to be like gritty and violent and real. But now as I get older, I'm finding I like comics to be weirder and kind of like out there.
Yeah.
My new favorite Green Lantern is a variant of the smallpox virus.
I want to read that comic. See,
I want to
know what that's about.
Just about him or them. I suppose a virus doesn't have a gender.
Smallpox is a they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
I don't know where we were. I feel like I interrupted somebody.
Biran wants a thick omnibus on his lap.
Yep.
Okay, that's your preference.
I want to read an entire arc in one big thick book.
So, while I appreciate having it all there, I find that like trades a little easier to
read in bed for sure. Yeah.
For reading, but that's my preference would be, like
standard 5 or 6 issue trade.
Yeah, trades, or the next one up where it's maybe like it's the second print of it, but they said they took every trade and made 1 and 2 into one.
Yeah.
Into the next one. That's
I like the oversized for the art and stuff.
Yeah, I know, ultimate collect, whatever you want to call it, like those. But that's probably my preferred way. But since moving here, new comic shop, there is something fun and exciting about going to get new issues. It's a fun thing to do. It's not, like I said, it's not my preferred. I like to just have it all together. But now that I've been adding things to a pull list and getting back in, I used to do that when I was younger, and now I'm doing that now. And there's something fun to look forward to every week. But I have a bad memory, so then as I forget stuff, then I have to go and reread things if I get too far behind. So that happens too. Whereas if it was a trade, I would never have to reread. I just go straight through it. So
I'm also
good.
I'm also a trade paperback would be my preferred, because I feel like I don't have to worry about damaging as much because most of them aren't going to have any value, really. Some of them do, obviously, but for the most part, I can read it in bed and I don't have to worry about bending a corner or something.
G.I. Joe 15 Xtreme? Throw it around, who cares?
Would you read that on the shitter?
G.I. Joe Classic 15? My copy was actually a library edition. So I don't give a shit.
So that's been read on some toilets already.
Was that one flagged?
Uh,
Like two
Stanza
hobos in
flag?
the library bathroom sucking each other off.
I don't know why we're talking about that, but okay.
Just in case Todd's watching.
Okay.
He's
There goes
not.
our sponsorship.
So-
Yeah, agreed. Extreme. It's what's funny is when I was unpacking some boxes, I saw some of my trades got kind of little like damaged, like there was like something heavy and they started to curl over. And I was all mad. And I was bending them back and I was like, well, it doesn't really matter. I've already read them. There's just gonna be, but I get what you're saying.
You should send a trade to get slabbed. As a
do
goof.
that.
As a goof.
I bet people have done that,
Probably
especially
costs
ones that are
more.
hard to find. You know,
Yeah.
if you got one that's kind of, hard to find in print anymore. So Extreme, that's your preference there is to read
You're a
the
trade man.
Yeah, I can't do digital. I want to because it seems like the better way to go, but I just can't do it. I need something in my hands, the physical book, and I like having all the issues collected together.
Comixology is not bad, but the Marvel app is Marvel Unlimited. I just signed up for a year for that. That app is so bad.
Oh, it's terrible.
Wait, is that before or after the recent update?
After the recent, because I just
Okay.
signed up because I want to get the Kitty Pryde action figure.
Oh,
Because if you do a full year, you get a bunch of bonus bullshit.
yeah.
It's
I
the-
wish.
the dirty old man package for you.
Yeah.
One thing I wish those apps had was like a playlist option to where like Mike could like curate a playlist of like Doom Patrol by Morrison
Right.
for me, and then he could share it with me. I could be like, oh, sweet, it's all in reading order, and I could just do like
I
this.
wish I could
Yes.
search for Amazing Spider-Man 457 and have it work.
Well, like a comic
like, scroll
Spotify
through
list
it.
is kind of a cool idea to
Yeah.
share that kind of thing there. I tried digital as well, and I couldn't do it. I did it on what's the Amazon thing? What's the
Comixology.
Kindle?
Comixology.
Comixology.
Oh, comics. Okay.
is that okay?
Yep.
And it was like it didn't feel like it was going to the right things, and then like I saw something that I didn't want to see, and
Yeah, sometimes
just-
like when you have it do the focus view where it goes panel to panel to panel, sometimes it doesn't do it quite right.
yeah, there was a couple like I don't know what you want like more cinematic moments of some, and I'm just like it just didn't feel like I had control over what I was reading.
The
And
stuff
plus,
that's
I don't-
specifically written for digital tends to be better at that, obviously. But yeah, like that's what I love about the Omnibus is like you get those like 2 giant page spanning action shots, and that you lose that on digital.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I
to
like-
turn it sideways.
Yep.
And it's like smaller.
Yeah, I don't get, even when we have our our normal gaming discussions, I don't really read anything digital there either. It's almost for as much time as I spend in front of screens between work and phone and everything, like there's something to me more relaxing about paper comics.
Unplugging.
Yeah, it
Totally
will.
unplugging.
And so that's a big part of it. Not checking, phone buzzes, Biran at 1 a.m. Hey, I just took an Ambien and I'm watching a Joe Rogan video. I'm like, you interrupted my story? You should have put on Do Not Disturb.
You don't
Yeah.
have to answer.
It's because I'm up, now you're up, you up, he says. I just like to just grab it, take it with me. I don't have to worry about anything. And really there's something to be said for just the ease of if you are maybe traveling to or just whatever. Just take it with. I like throwing that. I can't do digital. Mike, that's what you do. is
Yes.
Digital comics.
Yes. There's no way in hell I could read an omnibus. Okay. Because most of my comic reading is done either traveling to and from work, and I'd have to physically schlep that thing, and it's just too heavy.
What's the word?
What?
Schlep?
Schlep.
I don't know that
I
word.
think it's Yiddish.
Yeah. I learned. I heard it at a jeweler store once, but
You schlep right out of
also
it.
if I'm reading in bed, it's gonna be like 5 minutes, and I'm gonna fall asleep,
And then that's going to break your nose when it falls on your.
But the real thing
nuts.
is my eyesight is so bad now, even with the glasses, that the digital sometimes I can blow it up.
What tablet do you use?
And
A
I can get
tablet or your
everything I
phone?
need in my tablet. So,
What tablet do you use?
oh, it's a shitty Android thing.
Okay.
But I mean,
What are you running? What's your rig? It's your tablet rig.
But yeah, like I will buy comics from the store to support it, but I'll still read it digitally.
That's how you get those 9.8s, yo.
Yeah, well, no. My comics didn't sit in the file, in the box for like a month before I go and pick it up, or so. But
you hope to have a
so everything I read is
out with the
digital,
owner.
though.
Hope to maybe have a falling out with the owner where you just say, "All right, I'm just going to walk away."
Well, I'm surprised that the Wonder place, because it's never open when I'm home. So I'm like, I haven't been there like 3-4 months, but I called them.
Comic stores have gotten better about hours. I remember in the 90s, that was always a big thing with like,
that goes to shit like people like one man operations to fill. If you have a big list of customers with pull boxes, you got to take a day off just to fill those,
Yeah.
Well, the idea that it was like, if you don't go on that Wednesday, you're going to be fucked. And then it's just like, I mean, I remember stores that were closing so early, and there's like, then I'm gonna go on my lunch and there's no one there, almost like the old Games Workshop, take a shit, close the store down kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it's like they're open during business hours, but they should really be open at night when people are
right.
out.
If you think about it, like, I mean, most of the stores that I don't even know, like just fucking stores for everything. Stores
open 4 to 10.
Should always be open in non-business hours.
Yeah.
Always. It should always be. You don't know how many times I went to a store, I'm like, oh, closed Sundays. I'm like,
church?
That's the day I'm going to buy things. I don't have time to buy things Monday through Friday.
The horror show comic store by mine, they don't even post hours because they know you never know when they're going to be there.
Yeah.
Man.
That's the one that has an entire section of water damage comics that's been there for 5 months.
Those are the worst shops when you're traveling somewhere and you look up on comicshoplocator.com. You're like, oh, there's a shop over here in this town. It'll probably be good. Let's go visit that one. And you go there and you don't know when it's open.
And you get there, and even before you get to the door, you can smell cat piss.
Is the water damage like, isn't it a section where it's currently getting damaged? Whereas if you wait it out,
it's still dripping. It's still
so like every month is like another 10%.
That's where he puts his Archie comics and his Marvel Voices comics because they don't sell anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
There's this one shop that's near us that's in this guy's house.
Oh
no, thank you.
But it was hilarious.
Ask you to talk about that.
Yes, okay. So it's hilarious though because this prominent YouTuber that I watch all the time, Near Mint Condition, he's got like
I love Near Mint Condition. Omar's the best.
I talk to him regularly.
Oh, I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, he's great.
He just one upped you, so you can.
He did. Oh, that's a big one.
I know him.
Talk to him regularly.
No, but he went traveling to Indiana and went to some shops, and I'm assuming that him and his wife just typed in comic shop.
I saw that video.
Yes. And he go to the one, watch the part where he goes in the guy's house. And when he like pulled up to it in the video, I'm like, oh my gosh, he went to that place.
Don't go there. Don't go in there.
That's weird because you think he wouldn't actually have a video afterwards, because then how would he edit it after,
after they used him as a skin suit?
Right, well, he's done.
I messaged him afterwards and I'm like, I can't believe you went in that guy's house. And he's like, yeah, so I went in there because you have to walk past the guy's mom too, who's like sitting in the corner in the hallway when you walk past her.
That's part of the experience.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, he was really like weird about me like filming. So he's like, can you just keep the camera focused on this side of the house? And I was like, sure, whatever. But it was just weird.
Because the bodies were on the other side.
A lot of comic stores have like cool cardboard cutouts. He has one of his mom. Was that his actual mom?
I went in there one day just to see like what I was so curious. I drove by it every day. I'm like, what does he have in there? And he's got like 10 long boxes and that's about it. But like, it was just hilarious that I saw this like prominent YouTuber like going into this.
Yeah, Xtreme.
You sent that, rub the lotion on its skin or it gets the hose again.
You sent that link over. I remember checking it out. I was like, wow, I would have not even for my subscribers, I would not have done.
I found Near Mint Condition after watching Gem Mint.
Oh,
and he's like the hood rat version of Omar.
Yeah, Gem Mint.
He's
a character. He's got $1 billion worth of Marvel statues, though.
He's a big statue collector.
Do you remember? I remember you said Gem Mint. Remember Gem Comics in Elmhurst? We used to go there in the '80s. Were you in that? Man, that was like the store Dean and I would go to. It was like big. They had everything. Comics.
I was a Moondogs man back then.
Oh, okay.
I was a graham crackers kid. So yeah.
Well, that's graham crackers for me. Like
Well, that was the biggest chain around.
Yeah.
graham crackers. That's where I know Bobby Cranston from. I mean,
I've heard great things about. Is graham crack like you guys would recommend graham crackers?
I mean, assuming they're still around. So
Oh
They
yeah.
are.
They
graham
don't have as many
crackers.
locations, though, do they?
Yeah, they used to have several locations in Glendale Heights, and then I would go there. Like I'd work at Best Buy, then walk over at Graham Crackers, and then I would work there so I can buy the comics that were in my box with what I bagged and pulled that night. And it was it's a great deal. I just got to hang out and play games and talk about comics. Who cares? But the big ones, the Naperville one was the big one. Is that the one you went to, Mike, on like
Yeah.
Washington
and
Washington? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that one there. So then so Pat Brower, who ran, I think that one, he now runs Challenger Comics.
Oh, I haven't been to these shops, but I've heard so much about both of them.
Yeah, so I think it's Pat and I think it's Dal. They each managed 2 graham crackers, and now they create, made Challenger Comics downtown. So.
And Challenger, that's the
Still a
one that
graham
like,
crack- Go ahead.
Challenger's is the one like CM Punk and Colt Cabana do like sightings.
Yeah, that's because it makes total sense, because when I met those guys and I remember talking to them, we were all super into wrestling. So it makes total sense that they parlayed their comic love and wrestling love into a comic shop that wrestlers like to go to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What were you
There's a
saying?
lot
Lynn?
of the Venn diagram for wrestling and comics,
Oh yeah.
because I hear the talk at every comic book store of people jawing about AEW.
Always.
Or whatever.
Always. The last store I was in a week ago, like I was like, hey, I'm kicking myself. I'm not going to the show before the pandemic. And I was about to chime in to say I was like, I just want to do my thing. But it was because then it's like, now am I going to be the guy that's you're complaining?
You're going to
about?
become their hetero life partner.
Right. I was like, it's fine. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, there was the Venn diagram is pretty huge. That was the RVD picture I sent over was we had him at the comic store, and he was there hanging out, talking about comics. It was great. There is a good crossover. So Mike, you're doing digital for obviously for practical reasons, eyesight and travel, which makes sense.
Yeah, and I can read it. I don't have to have a light on in the bedroom when I'm reading it because the tablets.
Do you fall asleep though if you bring the tablet in bed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then you just drop the tablet on your face instead of the omnibus?
It usually falls to the floor. So that's why I got like this otter case for the tablet. So.
Okay. So the omnibus, you might like break one of your testicles.
Oh God, yeah.
And the tablet saves a spot too. He doesn't lose a spot when he drops it.
Yep.
Although sometimes my thumb is, I fall asleep and I press my thumbs on the page turn thing. So.
Oh, so I like, man,
Yeah.
I finished this one. I don't even remember what happened.
Yeah, that happens with my Kindle too. So.
So I may adapt. I every now and then I try it and I just can't do it. Like if I can't find something easily to buy, I might buy an issue. Like a lot of times like an issue 1 of a new series. Like it's kind of hard to find. Let's just see if I even like it. So I buy a digital, read it to get the gist of it. But then I'm like, do I actually like digital? And so far it hasn't.
The unlimited, it was like $100 for a full year, so I just did that because I wanted the action figure anyway, and the special comics that come with it. But for that, yeah, I'm like, oh, I've heard good things about. Is it Kelly Thompson's Black Widow supposed to be good? So and
I haven't read it, but
yeah, so I'll read that.
So you're reading that on what, like an iPad you're on?
Yeah, or my phone,
Wow.
either or.
Apple fanatic over there, huh?
Yeah.
Apple fan.
I got an iPad recently too because so we just moved recently and I had to sell like half my comics. But I used that money then to buy an iPad. So I'm part digital, but my preference definitely is hardcovers of any kind. But omnibuses usually. But I definitely get the travel thing. It is kind of.
You don't want to travel with a stack of omnis.
No.
I mean, if you're working out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Maybe.
because I have the Jeff John / Omnibus coming probably tomorrow, and we're going camping this weekend, so I'm gonna bring that with me because in an RV, who cares if you have another big thick book?
Do any of you guys have absolute editions from DC?
No, I've heard good things.
I have one right here to show off. So this is slightly bigger than an omnibus. This
Oh,
is Swamp Thing by Alan Moore. You can't even fit it in the camera. So
Wow.
just by size comparison, this is like omnibus size right here.
Mhm.
And this is the absolute.
That's a big boy.
You can see it's like wider and taller.
Yeah.
But they come in these.
A4.
These are really So there's 3 volumes of this. The 3rd volume hasn't come out yet for Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. And this volume is just like beautiful. So this is like the front. That's a spine that shows off on the shelf in the back. But then it comes in a slipcase.
Oh,
wow.
And this right
Alright.
here has like a mossy felt finish to it.
oh.
Like
Let's
Swamp
play a
Thing.
game called Guess the MSRP on this one, everybody.
Go ahead.
Biran, go first.
150.
All right,
I was gonna
stream.
say 199.
I was gonna go 199 as well.
I'm gonna go below all of you and say 110.
What? Did you say $1, Bob? Okay.
I don't know if I
Taylor?
could show it on camera. It's backwards. $99. $99.99.
Wow.
Really?
What is it in Canadian? That's the important one there.
Doesn't
Oh,
matter.
sorry.
Canadian
I
money's
saw
not real.
I saw a can there.
130.99.
Ah, okay.
It comes with a fancy ribbon too to keep your spot.
I
Wow.
wish Omnis did that.
Yeah.
And then here's like these fancy in papers. They really put a lot of love into these editions.
So
Wow.
tell
But
me about the opening of these. Biran, weren't you saying you have to open them?
There's
a
a
certain way?
there's more than one tutorial video on how to open an omnibus.
You have to
Why don't
relax
you-
the spine.
Yeah, got to get the
You have
good
to-
eye, they call it.
So do you have to find the middle spot?
Yeah, you start with the middle. Well, you do it, and then you start left, right, left,
You like
right,
fan the pages like left and right.
left and right, left and right. Left
Because the
and
thing you're trying to do is get the ribbon in the middle to lift up so the glue doesn't crack. So your
Yeah,
pages
so you
don't
get
fall
that
apart.
nice little curve there.
right.
Yeah.
And you don't get gutter loss.
Yes. I will warn you though, these editions are recolored. So if you've read like the original,
Whoa.
Okay.
What did you just
Yeah.
say?
I know
No, colored again.
they're recolored by Steve Oliff.
So
he's
they
a good
aren't like
colorist.
the original colors, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because like the original colors were like real psychedelic and like not like natural colors, and Steve Oliff
Oh,
went and made it
yeah.
like look more naturally browns and greens and stuff. So that could be an issue for some people, but absolutes are great. They vary in price too. Like they came out with a Killing Joke one, and Killing Joke, if you've read it, it's like just like
Yeah.
a shorter story,
Yeah.
and it's only like I think $60 cover price, but you can find it for like 30. And the cool thing about that one is it includes the original colored edition and the new colored edition. So it's like 2 versions of
Oh,
Killing
so
Joke.
they pad it out. It's twice the thickness.
Yeah.
Nice.
Same thing. I think they did a similar thing with Batman Year One. And then
So they're usually
Hardcore-
not as thick as a omnibus, because like
no,
the
yeah, they're
Batman
usually
one
like
has the Court of Owls, which could in theory be like a edition like that, but it also has like 4
they have a Court of Owls absolute. No, this includes I don't know. I think like 12 or 15 issues. I think.
Mhm.
So not
great on
nearly
a
as
shelf
thick
is
as
what
the
you're
other one.
saying. They're great for shelfies.
Oh yeah, but Dark Horse has library editions that are. Anybody read Black Hammer here?
Oh.
It's amazing. You should read it. But they're like the same size as absolutes, but they no slipcase. you
Biran
ever-
sent me a link to the Manhammer. What was that?
That was that's my handle on Grinder.
Okay, Mike, I think saw that one too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did it-
Black Hammer is great though. It's by Jeff Lemire, the guy that wrote Gideon Falls and Primordial.
Okay.
And so it's about superheroes. You can see him on the back there. But like, it's a whole. It's like cool because it's a great story on itself, but it's also like a commentary about comic books. So you'll have like certain spots where like there's like a big cataclysmic event, like a crisis, for instance, or there'll be like at one point they reboot the series, quote unquote. So it's kind of like a comedic fiction commentary on comic books, but also a great story in itself. But it's about these superheroes you see on the back that all get trapped on this mysterious farm and trying to find their way out.
Is it
Like,
all? Is that the whole series?
This is the volume 1. There's 2 volumes of these library editions. They also have
Okay.
trade paperbacks. And then these are Black Hammer Library. And then there's 3 volumes of World of Black Hammer Library editions, which are spin-offs. Not necessary to read, but they're still great too.
Okay.
But and then he's doing the 3rd volume, I guess, of the series right now. He started it. But all these characters, so you have like Abraham Slam's like your stand-in for like thing like Captain America. And then you have you have man, I forget the characters' names now. It's been so long since I read it. This girl right here, I forget her name, but she's like Shazam, where she says a magic word and she turns into a superhero, but she's trapped in the young girl's body. So like in the story, she's like a 60-year-old woman, but trapped in like a 9-year-old girl's body. And to keep up the ruse, they have to keep going she has to keep going to school, like the third grader, but she's like 60 years old and like wants to like chain smoke and stuff, and she hates her life.
It reminds me of the what's it, the Invincible, the girl that turns into the Beast, but every time she does it, she gets younger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a Barbalian. He's like Martian Manhunter, but he's like an outsider anyways because he's like an alien, but he can like transform into a human. But he also is homosexual, so he has to deal with like not only am I an alien in this world, but also I'm different too.
Does this alien world also look down upon his homosexuality, or is it just our world?
Well, there is a Barbalian spin-off series I haven't read yet, so I don't know. But the whole thing revolves around a black hammer.
Do they call him Galian?
Not in the story I've read, they haven't.
Oh.
But all
Is that
revolves.
the-
There's
is
like
that
an
the
Adam
alien
Strange
on-
character.
American Dad has that Galian, right?
Yeah, he's got a Galian. American Dad does have a Galian.
And then this is an even a larger edition. But this is from Oni Press. This is Kaiju Max. So I'm just doing recommendations now. I hope you guys don't mind.
Oh no.
No, that's what we're here for.
Okay. So this is Oni Press. This is a fun series. It's by Xander Cannon, who did a lot of work with Alan Moore on, I think, Top 10. But this story is, imagine like the HBO show Oz, but with kaiju monsters.
Oh, so they're blowing each other in prison cells?
Yeah. No, there's a graphic scene in there that you'd imagine, but like the artwork is like, so the prison guards are like Ultraman, like
those types, yeah.
Yeah. And then the kaiju monsters, and they all have like different gangs of different types of kaiju monsters. And the great thing is Xander Cannon's like there's also a fancy ribbon that you like.
Nice.
Xander Cannon's a huge fan of like the classics like Godzilla and those kinds of things. So in this edition, these are what do they call these? I don't know, the deluxe edition, these hardcovers. There's all these like little footnotes at the bottom. You can't really see my camera probably.
No.
But he goes through and like points out all the different references of what he's like referring to. Like nearly every single page has like different Easter eggs or references from all those old movies on it. So like when you're reading it, I kind of find myself like reading the comic and then going back when the issue's done to go read all the footnotes. But there's just so like these are so beautifully made. Like the music notes on here are the Godzilla theme song.
Oh.
Oh wow.
Like, just like all these little touches to it. But it's
I
like, got,
enjoy
like cartoony art to it.
I enjoy following Omnibus collectors who have severe OCD that freak out when they change the spines.
They recently did that with Marvel.
Yeah.
I have to say, it kind of upset me too. But
I like a lot of the DC ones don't have any common theme on their spine, so you don't care.
I like those too. They look better on the shelf to have like a variety of colors and themes.
Yep.
As long as they keep the theme, like as long as they keep it the same for like a series.
Yeah.
Isn't it though, if they change the style, then it's just one change. So it shouldn't be that upsetting to OCD, right? Because unless they go back, then that would.
Oh, it's pretty bad. If you look at my Instagram, Taylor Talks Comics, the Fantastic Four ones on there, like the font. Sorry, I have to move my stack here. The font used to be big and fill up the whole spine, and they recently changed it to where the font's really tiny. I don't have one of the new ones with me at the moment.
Sometimes they don't say volume number when they should.
Yeah, see like how Fantastic Four covers up the whole spine.
Mhm.
The new one is like this tiny font that stops like right here, and it like it looks really weird. You know?
Where's the number? There's the number in the same spot?
Yeah, and it has like an image down here too, so it's like a little bit different. But one more,
What are you gonna do about it?
I don't know.
There are people that get custom dust jackets made.
Yeah,
I watched a tutorial on how to fold your new custom dust jacket.
That's nuts.
but so one more recommendation. This is the best thing I've read all year. Monsters by Barry Windsor Smith. You guys
Oh,
familiar with Barry Windsor Smith?
oh yeah.
This is his last work. So
Is
this
he
is
dead
put
or
up-
something?
What's that?
Is he dead? Is that why it's his last work?
No, he's just getting old.
Okay.
But this is put up by Fantagraphics this year. And this was originally going to be a Hulk story. So the thing behind this was that back in the 80s, he had the story for Incredible Hulk that he wanted to do. And for whatever reason, Jim Shooter said no. And they shelved it. And I think Jim Shooter said no, maybe later or something. So they shelved it. And it was going to be dealing with like why Bruce Banner, like he dealt with like childhood trauma and those kinds of things. That's what led him kind of into him being chemically imbalanced, I guess.
Mhm.
So he said no. It turned into this whole thing. I don't want to. Some Hulk writer. I don't want to say their name because I'm going to get it wrong. or get the Hulk writer wrong. Somebody's kind of stole the story for their own.
Yeah,
too,
I was
and
gonna say they redid that story.
yeah, I forget who did that, but they kind of stole it from like the
Yeah.
rumor was that they found Barry Windsor Smith's art and kind of stole the story for their own. But so Barry Windsor Smith has then been working on this the whole time since. And Gary Groth, the publisher for Fantagraphics, has said that if Marvel would have let him do this, it would have been like their Watchmen, like or their Dark Knight Returns. It would have been like that big, just because it's such a fantastic story. So he kind of reworked it and he kind of shopped it around through the 90s and early 2000s to like Dark Horse and these kinds of things. And nobody, for whatever reason, it didn't happen. But he finally did finish it, and it's this thick volume, and the artwork's just incredible. If you've read like Weapon X from like where he did like Wolverine Weapon X, like his artwork's just incredibly detailed and amazing. It's all black and white, but obviously he had to rework it so it's not Hulk anymore. But it's like this, it turns into like this espionage story. So it's like there's spies and there's this government program that's like secretive, and they do this experiment on this guy and he turns into a monster. But also you get this backstory of like this childhood trauma he dealt with. It's just an incredible story, and the artwork's amazing. And it's just Barry Windsor Smith's the only guy that worked on it. He did all the pencils, inks, and writing. But yeah, it's the best thing I've read all year. So highly recommend this. You can buy this volume. It's cover price $39.99.
Is there like a
$29.99 on cheapgraphicnovels.com.
You can find it for cheaper.
I just added
Taylor
it to my
Talks
wish-
comic promo code available?
Promo
I
code
wish.
anal tacos.
No, I wish, but no.
30
I
bucks
am-
for something that thick is a steal. So
Yeah, it's a nice hardcover.
I am buying that and Gideon Falls right now.
If that was a GW codex, it'd be $300. So
Well, let me know what you think of this, because like I said, it's one of the best things I've read this year, and it's really good.
No PayPal. I'm not giving $1 to the Red Cross.
Did anybody read Pete Bag comics in the 90s?
Nope.
I feel like these are like
Yeah.
right. He was like I think like the Simpsons kind of Beavis and Butthead a little bit, but great cartooning.
I've seen those. I've never read them though.
Yeah. So he was like, he got it right in the beginning of like the grunge scene in the early
Yeah.
90s. And like he traveled from he lived in Jersey and Seattle during that time. And so a lot of his, it's just like, it's about Buddy Bradley and his life, and everyone in the story is like despicable human beings, kind of like Seinfeld, where everyone's just like despicable, but then you also kind of find them endearing a little bit.
Or Portlandia.
Yeah. And like everyone has like these rubbery limbs. He just has like this real cartoony look to his art. This is a nice box set that came out with everything in it.
I wanted to
Fantagraphics.
say I put a couple ones. I want to get some slipcover stuff. I want to get on that slipcover action.
Yeah. Well, this is great. And you can find it for like, I think it's $83 on instocktrades.com, which is where I go.
I love when Biran's looking at stuff and like he knows someone has something better than what he has.
And I have to have it.
It's fucking eating away at him. Like,
It's really cool. So you can
like
find this.
slip covers. Ah,
You can find that material on trade paperbacks too if you just want to try it out.
Well,
he's not doing that. He wants what you have. He wants the shiny, like whatever was in that one, the swamp.
I want the
Thing one.
fuzzies. I want
He wants,
fuzzy
like,
swamp
He
thing
wants to rub his hand on.
Yeah.
because I have the Nancy Collins Swamp Thing omnibus on my wish list.
Oh yeah, they've really collected Swamp Thing pretty well. They just came out with the new 52 one too with the Snyder and Charles Sewell.
Yeah.
I want to get that too because like I said, I was reading the new 10-issue miniseries that I hope becomes an ongoing. It's really good.
They're releasing a box set soon too of Alan Moore's stuff in trade paperback, but it's like a box set that has a whole entire run in it.
But does it have a fuzzy cover?
No, it
Then
doesn't.
I'm not interested.
And there's people are wondering if it's going to have the new colors or the old colors. We don't know.
I don't see color.
But they have 2 volumes of this out too right now. I don't know if they're in print or not.
Taylor.
And then volume 3 comes out in March.
Biran, you don't see color.
Nope.
That
Well,
makes
2
three.
of the 5 of us don't see color.
That's 3 now. No, Biran just admitted he does. Mike and I, we're the only normies here. How about that?
There's 2 absolute editions that I've had on my wish list for a while that I want to track down. Both Alan Moore, The Watchmen, and V for Vendetta. I want to
I have
those
both
on
of
my-
those.
because those are both books that I have the paperbacks for that I've reread probably more than any other books that I've had.
Before I moved and I had to sell some books, I had like Watchmen in like 5 different versions, and then I sold a lot of them. But that Absolute Edition is really nice and it's sturdy. The V for Vendetta one, which I've done reviews of both these on my channel, Taylor Talks Comics at YouTube. The V for Vendetta one, the glue comes unplugged or comes unglued a little bit, so it's kind of a little rough. And apparently it's an issue with all the V for Vendetta copies of Absolute. But I'm a big Alan Moore fan, so I'm trying to get all the Alan Moore Absolute stuff.
Are you gonna buy back what you sold, Taylor?
So far, I've only bought one book that I sold.
Yeah.
So I haven't got to that point yet.
Next time, just ask your big brother for money, okay? Don't sell your comics. He's loaded. Don't worry about it.
How many pennies on the dollar did you get when you sold them?
Enough to buy an iPad.
Which
Like,
iPad though?
Like the nice one, like the
Pro.
Get the
Yeah.
first one.
yeah, I got the
The one-
real.
The one from 2010 is what I have.
I got a
It hasn't
2018.
It hasn't turned on in 8 years.
Ooh, there's a Crisis on Infinite Earth hardcover box set. It's only $350. Normally $500.
That has all the tie-ins and stuff though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put,
But it's in a box.
but some of those tie-ins, like the only thing that tied it in was like the sky was red.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's happening
Some of
over
those
there?
tie-ins were weak.
They have an absolute edition of that. I think it's out of print, but they do have a deluxe edition, which is the same trim size as an omnibus.
Yeah. Deluxe hardcovers. Same.
Yeah.
But does it come in a box?
Yeah.
Taylor,
Yeah.
you're missing the point.
Does it have a
Yeah.
fuzzy cover?
He wants to know,
This
is
a
it like,
slipcase too?
is there like a box that is shiny and then slides into the other one, but then there's like a different texture on the one that goes inside, one that goes outside, and then
And does it have a
looks-
magnetic closure of some kind?
right? Does it look equally as good facing this way as it does this way? Has to check all the boxes.
I need the Omni
Flip
Abyss,
through, flip
the
through.
official handbook.
They have omnibuses of that.
I know, but are they on a 3-ring binder punch though?
Is that an official release or did you print that off yourself?
No, this
No.
is official from the early 90s.
Yeah.
Late
Because
80s.
when
early
they
90s.
when they redid the 80s ones, they came out and you could buy them in 3-ring binder holes and
Yep.
Is the binder still functional?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Those omnibuses, like they'd be cool coffee table books, but those are expensive coffee table books.
Yeah. Well, one thing I liked about the Jeff Johns' Green Lantern is the back. It documents a whole bunch of different Green Lanterns. That's how I found out there's the one that's based on a math formula.
I do like the back matter you get in some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bonus material stuff is really good.
Yeah, like the X-Men Grand Design omnibus. So Marvel has like Treasury editions, which are like even bigger. They're the same trim size as like the old school Marvel Treasury, like comic books that came out. And they released X-Men Grand Design in 3 of those. But then they also released this omnibus, which is a little bit shorter trim size, but it's nice to have it all in one volume.
Mhm.
But the cool thing about this is that the paper quality. I don't know if you guys are paper nerds. They actually, so Ed Piskor purposely did it on like, he colored it to where the paper looks aged. So it's like a classic, like, you know, from a back issue bin, you pull like an old 70s comic, it's like yellowed. So he purposely like, made it look yellowed. So you can see on here, like the yellow pages are the story. The white pages are all back matter.
Yeah.
Did he put
The
some
cool thing
smell
about-
on there too?
What's that?
Put some smell on those pages too?
Oh, they smell terrific.
Like someone should be smoking Camels and blowing it into it.
Yeah.
You say
Well, we were
blowing
talking, I
Camel?
think it's before you came out, we were talking like Marvel Comics paper quality is absolute trash now.
Yeah, but this though, they put this is actually really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
the cool thing about this too, if you
Well,
haven't
no,
read
their
it,
omnis are fine. It's their floppies that are
oh yeah, okay. Well, some of their omnis have some thin paper too, but this, if you haven't read it, so Ed Piskor of Cartoonist Kayfabe, he has a YouTube channel which is great. He's the only one that does the stuff in it, all the art, pencil, coloring, everything. And what he did was he took X-Men from the very beginning to the end of Chris Claremont's run, which is like, I mean, Chris Claremont's run alone was like 17 years. And he made it to where you could tell the whole story in just these issues, this number of pages. And he has like this cool Arkham artwork. And what's cool though, when he does that age paper, like look at that where the white really pops out of there.
yeah, yeah.
So he does some really cool stuff like that. And then here's another cool with that white effect. Like explodes on the paper with that white. But so like some certain events will happen in just one little panel, but then like stuff he expands upon it too. So you get the entire story of X-Men through the Claremont run in just this little book. But the genius part about it is that he did it in such a good way that it's not like an encyclopedia. Like it actually tells like a narrative story throughout the whole thing. Like think like I'm not an expert on X-Men mythology, but like Mr. Sinister debuted like much later, but what they did, like they retconned where he actually did something that took effect early.
Yeah.
He puts it all in order for you. So you actually see that event happen chronologically, and he maps it all out to you and tells it like this really nice narrative story throughout the whole
So it's
thing.
not just editing it up to make it an abridged kind of thing, but he actually altered it to make it flow properly.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like you get like a history lesson on X-Men, but also you're a nice story. And the artwork's cool. It's like a different than anything Marvel's ever done, like artwork wise. And it's even got cool corner boxes on the end papers.
Oh yeah.
You guys remember cool Marvel corner boxes? But the back matter is all the thumbnail script that he did. So like he like sketched out all the pages. Like this is how he does his scripts.
Mhm.
It's like all thumbnailed out. And here's some more artwork. But yeah, X-Men Grand Design's great. And you get this omnibus for like $58, $50, wherever you shop.
Mhm.
Or those treasury editions, you can find them for like $15 each too. And they're like I said, they're a little bit bigger. And they're trade paperbacks, but the covers like this thicker, like flexy.
Yeah. I
Kinda
think I have a
cardboard.
couple like that.
Yeah.
Well, we've covered a lot here. Taylor, any other recommendations that you need to get off your chest right now?
I don't know. How about the Halloween season Goon? Have you guys read this? This is my last recommendation for the night.
Is it based on the hockey movie?
No.
No.
It's not.
So this came out. This was Eric Powell did this, and he did it right around the same time as like Hellboy. So it's like compared to Hellboy a lot, and it's kind of similar in the fact that it has like a central character that goes through all this, its own mythology and stuff. But the Goon is like in a horror comic, and it's this guy, the Goon, and then his little friend here, and the Goon is like a mobster. He works for a mobster, but then the mobster dies, but nobody knows that he dies. So Goon's still kind of taking care of his business through the town. And so it's like a mobster comic, but the mobsters are all like zombies and witch doctors and stuff.
This is pretty old, right?
Yeah, this he's still doing new comics now, but he started this like in the 90s, I think.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I remember that one.
Yeah.
So it's like you get a little bit of Dick Tracy in there too, with all the villains are like really eccentric and different. But then you get like, I mean, it's a horror comic. You get cool like violence, and it's like you got some fun dark humor in it too. But these are all collected. Eric Powell left Dark Horse, and he has Albatross Comics now. It's his own publisher, and these are called Bunch of Old Crap. There's 5 volumes of these, of the Bunch of Old Crap, that collect the entire first run of the Goon, and these affordable trade paperbacks. These are like $29.99 a piece.
They look about the size of those epics that I know.
Yeah.
Ryan, you were getting into a little bit.
Yeah, I have an epic right here. So like same size. But it's a fun story if you like mobsters and horror and dark humor.
I don't much care for Italians.
I don't know if I can't tell you how many Italians appear in here. Oh, there's the crime boss Labrazios. So
Yeah.
maybe
Okay.
Yeah, that's
You
one
got to
too
say
many
it
for
Chicago way too. It's Italian.
Italians.
Labrazio.
but that's it. I won't recommend anything else.
No, that's great. You did a great
Yeah.
job. You added some much needed authority, if you
You
will.
cost me $70 today.
I'll tell you what, I think we've all got some lists that we made up from you and each other. People watching at home or on the go may have got some cool recommendations for things to check out. A lot of stuff out there. Sure, go the Biran route and buy them online. You probably should go to your local store.
I tell you what,
See what they got first.
sorry, if you read them and you like them, invite me back on and we can talk about them. But if you end up hating them, then you won't hear from me again. But
Well,
What is
you were
this
on
social justice nonsense he tricked me to reading?
you were
I
on
hate
our-
diversity.
Taylor, you were on our first ever episode of Zlurpcast, and now you're on our last ever episode.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up.
This is over. No, good stuff. A lot out there. And, we're not here to grill you on Comics Gate. That's not what we're about here.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. That's next episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
We're gonna have your boy Zach on, and we're gonna have,
I've never talked to him before, so that'd be interesting.
we're gonna have Ethan Van Sciver, and then for a moderator, we're gonna have Comics with Perch.
I feel like I talk to Ethan like on a daily basis at this point. So
You guys are lovers.
I mean,
Would you say that, to put it in comic terms, Batman needs the Joker,
yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Which one are you?
It depends on who you ask.
I'm asking you.
Do you follow Comics by Perch at all?
I don't know. I've heard that, but I haven't.
Yeah,
no.
he's a very middle of the road guy.
Okay.
Oh, then nobody cares about that.
That's
No, you got to be one side or the other.
We don't want middle of the
extreme
road.
on one, extreme on the other.
Well, extreme's on one side.
We got
yeah.
extreme on this side.
Yeah.
He's over there for me, but yeah. So, all right. Well, good stuff. Taylor, it's been good talking to you. It's been a long time. Your brother wants to play some Blood Bowl, so why don't you get on that too?
All right. I'm a little rusty. You have to.
And he wants you to watch
So is
wrestling.
Brian.
We all are.
Wants you to watch some wrestling with him too, so do that as well.
Oh, for sure. I watched
Brian
the last AEW pay-per-view with
Yeah,
him.
Brian Danielson, man.
Yeah,
Look at that.
he's back.
Yeah. So very cool. So follow Zlurpcast on social media and subscribe. And then Taylor Talks Comics as well. Social media.
Links
wanna
down
throw that out
below. Yeah.
Yeah, Taylor Talks Comics on YouTube, youtube.com/Taylor Talks Comics, Instagram's Taylor Talks Comics, Twitter. I couldn't fit that on there, so I had to do TM Talks Comics.
there?
But if
You're-
you search
you're
Taylor
TM.
Talks Comics, you'll find me.
You're
Trans-
TM.
Trans Man Talks
Yeah.
Comics.
Yeah. TM is Taylor Mitchell.
Oh,
Yeah.
Or is it Mitchell?
It depends on who you ask.
Oh, okay. I thought so as well. I just want to check the accent. Sometimes it pops up on my keyboard. It corrects me, and I just wanted to check that out.
did we all have one of our relatives on an episode?
Should we or did we?
No, should we?
Or
No,
did we?
well,
None of us have.
No.
I'm
Mike,
the first.
Yeah.
Mike, who do you want on, Mike?
All my relatives are dead, so we'll have to have a seance.
That's the best guests.
Yeah.
You
You
know
have
why?
my brother
Because-
on. He's older and more handsome than I, but he'll only talk about glasses because he's an optician. And he would call us fucking nerds.
Okay.
I'd like to see, before we do that, all of Extreme's fake family on, like the people that look like they're in Extreme's family
Oh,
throughout the years.
Yeah, all the fake Brian
all the
Mitchells.
fake Brian Mitchells. I bet
Yeah.
we can make one of them come on.
There's a lot of them we can get on. I mean, there's at least 5 over the years, just Blood Bowl related alone, So.
We had a fake Brian Mitchell so convincing that the Stevens brothers thought it was Brian Mitchell at Grognard Games.
Oh,
Oh man.
was it? I forget his name now. I met him. Extreme Junior. What'd you used to call him?
Jim Roofer?
Yeah, was it him?
That's a different one.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
different one. There's a lot of them though. Biran's talking about another one. There's a guy that goes to Grognard Games that
Yeah,
I believe.
Joseph,
Joe
yeah.
Joe something.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't pronounce his last name.
I have a feeling. Did I see something online about like he donated to the cause for Extreme because he said I
He
look
did.
Yes, he did. He's
Yeah.
also another published sci-fi author at Grognard's stable.
Wow, there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
I want to get in. I want to get in that. But I want to make sure mine are slipcase only releases for Biran.
With fuzzy covers.
Fuzzy come.
Like literally, that's the release. There's nothing on the page. The pages are blank, but it's a slipcase with fuzz on it.
Like
make
the
sure-
old
make sure it's-
Mossman figure.
Make sure
Mossman.
it's sealed though, so they don't find it until they get home that it's blank.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there's going to be a little cutout circle to feel the fuzzy part, like a try me
Yeah.
thing. So he knows that's going to get all dirty and nasty, obviously. 'Cause it's just the one.
It's all
part.
matted with cum.
Man, when he gets home, there's going to be nothing on those pages. He's going to feel so stupid.
Joke's on them. I wasn't even going to read it. I just wanted it on my shelf.
That's $100. That's fine. Right in the pocket. All right. Well, let's close it out here. It's been a long episode, and we covered all this is like real topics, real stuff. So Taylor added some good content to this show. We got more stuff coming up. We got more Zlurpcast Cribs videos on the way. We got more games to cover. I have a feeling there might even be like a Blood Bowl review episode because we're doing next editions of games now. We did a Kill Team one recently for the new edition. So as new editions of games come out, we got to review those games as well. So stay tuned for all of that. Zlurp Nation, link in there. Bonus content eventually, or maybe, or not. We'll see. Zlurpcast discussion on Facebook. Check that out. And buy things. We're going to finish up with that. I mean, Taylor, you didn't get in this one, and don't you feel bad, but why do I have like the word? There we go. Taylor, you should have been in this.
Oh, that looks really cool.
That's your brother, that Mario looking guy there.
I'm the fat guy.
Who did the artwork on that?
That was Scott Prime.
We don't talk about that.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't mind. I don't mind. He did the artwork in the game. He got paid handsomely.
JP owns the artwork though.
He got paid handsomely, and I'm still paying debts on it. So it all worked out. Yeah, so that's from Death Path. Have you ever played Death Path, Taylor?
Have I, Brian?
No.
Okay, then no.
All right, well, he's gonna have it. Brian's gonna have a lot of time on his hands. You want to, meet up with him at some point. Just
make a list.
That's fine. We have a list of comics. We gotta play a list of games now. So anyway, I didn't mention where to get that. And stickers, Zlurpcast.net. I just got all in like angry mode. But you can put these stickers on your iPads.
That's what I did.
Mike said he had a quote shitty tablet. I don't know that brand.
But he's got a solid outer box to make it so it doesn't.
Is it like SHITE accent? I don't know. Shite.
SHITI with an accent.
ITI, yes. You could put that on there. Right.
I got
get his
stickers on my iPad.
Matt. Really cool stuff.
I have the trans awareness hamster.
It just looks like a hamster to me.
But he's got the trans flag on.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even recognize
Peter
that.
Ginsburg.
What is the other sticker? Guns or coffee?
Guns and coffee.
Oh, and I thought guns are coffee.
Yep.
Like it was like I didn't understand that. Huh. Yeah, Biran, you have a lot of contradictory things.
There's Zlurpcast, and all oppression is connected.
And a Grognard game sticker. Any of those peeling up right now? Or are they all pretty solid?
They're all pretty solid. I can definitely, like the SMAT sticker is covering like 3 other stickers, and there's no peeling at all.
So the SMAT sticker available at Zlurpcast.net is fixing your other stickers.
Yep.
That are, at the very least, get one to fix the other shit you got. You know what I mean? Like a tattoo on top of the other one. That's what we are.
Put that in the description, like fixes other stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah, fixes other stickers. Or you can either watch the full 2-hour episode with Taylor, 2.5 hours probably, or just buy a sticker which fixes other stickers.
You are shrimply the best.
Shrimply?
Yeah. Because
it's what is that? No, I know, but what does that mean?
Simply.
It's a dad joke.
It's a pun. Katie will appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she'll never see it.
She won't see this one. And if she does, she's not staying until the end.
No, it's 5 minutes tops. And
yeah. I'm here to
if
see
anyone stays to the end, it's on accident and they walked away from their computer wall.
I'm here to see Mike's face to make sure he's really in there doing this. And not something else.
No,
I can't go 2 hours without,
I can't see what's below. All right, that's it. This is babbling. So bye for now. We'll see you next week.
Zlurpcast! Brought to you by McMurdy's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loathing it.